Christopher Peppler has a nifty model of studying the Bible that I want to share quickly. It's called the Christocentric Principle. Essentially what Chris Peppler says is that we begin our study by looking at what? Specifically at what Jesus said and did concerning what we're studying. So what Jesus said and did. Of course, this means that we begin our study in the Gospels. So this concentrates on the biblical texts in Matthew through John. Once we've understood what Jesus said and did about a topic, we move backwards in time to the Old Testament in order to understand why he said and did it. The Old Testament gives us the rationale for what Jesus said and did. So we turn back to the Old Testament to find out why he said and did it, and we're finding this in the biblical materials in Genesis through to the end of Malachi. Next, we look to the rest of the New Testament. So we look forward from Jesus to the rest of the New Testament, where we find out how the apostles interpreted and applied what Jesus said and did. So the apostles interpreted the Old Testament and all of life through the lens of what Jesus said and did, and we can see how they did this in the book of Acts through to the book of Revelation. In other words, the balance of the New Testament. This is the Christocentric Principle. We start with what Jesus said and did as recorded primarily in the Gospels. We look back to the Old Testament for the rationale, why he said and did it, and then we look forward to the remainder of the New Testament to understand how it is interpreted and applied. This method is mostly designed for topical Bible study, but you can use it with textual studies as well. After you've studied a text in context, your second step in a textual study would be to turn to what Jesus said and did concerning the themes in your text.